Forgiveness, the most beautiful word. I'm going to be reading today from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 23, verses 33 and 34. When they came to a place called the Skull, they nailed him to the cross, and the criminals were also crucified, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." And the soldiers gambled for his clothes by throwing dice. And so here's Jesus exposed between two criminals. The Prince of Glory is brutally pinned to a rough piece of wood. It was only the climax of a rough day of insolence, of injustice, and ruthless beating. And all of this for a man whose every action was kindness and welcome and deliverance and truth. Forgive them, Jesus says, because they don't know what they're doing. You know, I was thinking, actually, isn't that the definition of sin? When you know what you're doing is wrong and you do it anyways. James chapter 4, verse 17 says this: it is sin to know what you ought to do and then not to do it. So I'm sure there were people around Jesus at that moment who actually didn't know who Jesus really was, and the colossal outrage that was happening in front of them. There were people who didn't know. But I believe that even they soon put two and two together, as it says in Matthew chapter 27, when the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, "Surely he was the Son of God." What's most upsetting, though, is that there were also people who knew what they were doing, who understood the innocence of the man they were nailing to a cross, but were blinded. Were blinded by their own self-importance and power. They didn't know what they were doing because they didn't know that Jesus was the Messiah. God himself come to earth to take our place of punishment and die for what should have killed me. Forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Lord, give us a moment of clarity to see what it is that we are doing. When we see what we're doing, maybe then we will understand what it is that you have done for us. Do you see him on this in this moment on the cross? Forgive them. For lust, I give purity. For greed, I give generosity. For gluttony, I give self-denial. For anger, I give compassion. For pride, I give humility. For envy, I give grace. Forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Forgive, the most beautiful word. Lord bless you today.